Hey, it's Tuesday, everybody! Welcome to the Iron Seas! All right, with me, I'm Battsauce. It's Tuesday, sorry, you're getting a little sidetracked. And we got A.C Pritchard, Emily Music, and with our guest today, Herman, a $6 million hedge hunter.
I'm on a drink with Tracy, and I like White Claw.
Royce,
I like
why is Royce over there?
Yeah, your impression of Royce sounds like Dana Carvey.
Because I got White Claw to show up.
Dana Carvey from Wayne's World being Royce.
Sounds like Dana Carvey. Sounds like he likes trains. Anyways, yeah, we got some stuff going on. We just finished the Hobbit trilogy.
We did.
We're going to talk about that, which concludes all the Lord of the Rings movies, or the Peter Jackson ones at least. And we're going to talk about Herman's book. And then, he's just had a new release. And then if we have the time, we're going to get into some topics. We have some current event stuff that kind of happened to be interesting to talk about and whatnot. But Herman, how you doing?
Well, actually, I'm doing pretty good. I'm getting around without the cane. And
Nice.
so
Yeah, you had a bunch of surgeries.
Yeah, and so I feel pretty good up until I go into physical therapy, and then they, beat the crap out of me. So I have 2 canes now, and a walker.
Twice as dangerous.
All right. Well, if you put the 2 canes
you
together,
operate
it kinda
all
equals
3
a
at the same time. That would be
So, and we've been remodeling the back here. My wife has been doing some painting, and we've been reorganizing some stuff. So the back over there, that space back over there is going to be where I hang all my guitars and put my amp. Of course, this stuff right here you see next to me, those are my cigars. And of course, if I do this, you can see all my books hanging back there that nobody will be able to see because they're too far away, but whatever.
What's with the they didn't put like a claw attachment on the cane?
Yeah.
Yep.
Put a little, Well, those little cigar golf holders, put that over there on the cane and put my cigar on that. It's a huge roach clip.
But, all right. Well, Emily, how you doing? How you been? You also having hip problems?
You could hear it cracking from all the way over there. I'm doing okay. It's always like strange because I forget there's a week between previous shows, and in my brain it's only Tuesdays. It's like how's everything been? It's been pretty good though. Working on things. I trying to get caught up with a few other projects, doing stuff for Lord Otter and other stuff, getting prepared for the return of IAK later on this month. So odds and ends and things of that nature, and trying to get some things wrapped up. The return. Yes. Other than that, no. Same old, same old. How about you, AC?
Quite a bit. I have been absolutely inundated with this stuff going on with my band, which I can update everybody on later. Aside from that, knocked out like 2 fresh chapters in my editing just last night. Had a real good push with that. That was fun. Winding into like the last 33% of my book in editing. So I'm excited to get that out. I'll switch this over so I don't. Boom! There it is. To get that out for everybody. So
boom.
Yep. Lots of stuff. On top of that, obviously there's always so much news going on, in the world lately, and it's just crazy trying to keep up.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I've been getting some good work done on the Dawn Edge sequel. It's not gonna be called Dawn Edge 2. Be something else.
Like Nintendo Switch.
Struggle with that, man.
After we took care of that, the edge of dawnness.
The edging of dawn, which is very relevant to the movie watch today.
Isn't it Dusk Edge? Isn't that the
Dusk Edge?
Dusk
I'll call it Dusk Edge is the sequel.
Hey, how about this one? How about Twilight Edge? Was that
maybe? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe get some DAI gayness in there, and then I'll be Twilight Edge. Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk about the movie for this week. Kahuna will not be joining us today. He's got
because he's a wussy.
And that, yeah, there's definitely that. But yeah, let's talk about the Hobbit. You got the rundown for us?
Boy, do I. So the recording we
Boy,
watched
do I.
Boy, do I. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. So the recording we watched this week was, was The Hobbit, the Gooning of the Five Armies from 2014. By the way, when I fired this thing up in my Blu-ray player, I was shocked to see the rating. Did anybody else catch the rating?
No, it was
R. Rated R.
Yeah.
I don't know
Lots of decapitations.
I guess.
well, yeah.
There must be
Well,
like
we
a
can get
limit,
into
like
the
sorry,
decapitations.
the 4 decapitations simultaneously via reindeer. That one would cross the line. I don't know. It's just strange to see.
There's
the
like
R
no
rating.
blood.
I know. And it's like it's
just
fake
was-
creatures, and they're just like computer generators. Like, anyways, all right. So
Yeah,
after the
all right.
dragon wraps up his 171-year-long gooning session in the Lonely Mountain, the people of Lake Town, they see a threat coming. Orcs, dwarves, elves, and people of all
Bird.
types of shapes and sizes are preparing for the goonery. Bilbo sees Thorin going mad from over-gooning, and he tries to help. Meanwhile, Gundolf is rescued from the Necro-Gooner's prison, and his rescuers realize who the Necro-Gooner is. He's a familiar face, I think a lot of us know. This is starring all the same people from the last 2 films. Budget of $250,000. $250 million. That's crazy.
Where'd it go?
Yeah. And it made $980 million. So all these movies made right around $1 billion. The first one did the best, which makes sense. But
Oh,
the other ones-
900. I thought you said 90.
980 million. Yeah, 980. Cool. 980.
That's
So they all
profit.
did pretty well. Even though the budget went up. It was a massive jump in budget for this one. I'm guessing it went to the CGI for the war scenes or whatever. I don't know. But ladies and gentlemen, that is the rundown.
There's a
I love
pole in
the announcer voice. And he's going for a long, long drive. There goes
That's what we do
Gandalf
here.
in for the
Is it the
interception.
shoes? Boom shakalaka. The nail in the coffin.
Yeah, I mean,
And Bilbo fumbles the ball.
No, he dropped the ring. And Bill, I don't know if he's gonna find it. We gotta see how this plays out here.
Well,
Yeah,
first
Bilbo
off-
just
time out.
disappeared from the field.
Oh
Where
no,
could he
Toriel
be?
is back. She's just been bad news the whole time. Let's see how this works after the team. Back to Jim.
first
I know,
off,
that's fun.
before I forget, you guys were just rambling on that joke.
Yeah, that's what you do.
No, the head's popping off. Like every 2 seconds in a fight, an orc loses its head, and it just gets ridiculous.
Yeah.
Am I the only one on that? Like it's just like pop,
Yeah,
pop, pop.
John Douglas would be rather wroth at that.
Yeah. Oh,
See,
I mean, it
but
just upsets me because like this movie was really bad with like the butter armor.
Well,
Just-
I will tell you this. This is of the 3 movies, this was probably the worst.
Oh,
yeah.
really?
Oh yeah.
So-
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Look,
Yeah,
I
and
need to call up Left Eye Ego to get on my side here.
He would be like,
He's not here
he'd
anymore.
be like the first 12 minutes are good. But it does have a very an amazing fight. I know it's not canon at all, but like what fight I'm talking about.
I
Toriel
really don't
fighting
actually.
the,
You know what
Uh,
fight I'm talking about. You know that fight.
brother.
that one,
Yeah,
the one with the guy
yeah.
and the other guy, and they
The
have
one,
weapons?
the one where
Not,
we
not the
actually
first
get to
guy,
see,
but
like,
the second guy.
yes, yeah, the one where we actually get to see like Gandalf and Saruman team up with like Galadriel.
That
and
was
stuff.
so bad. Okay, let's just wait till we get to that. Like, this whole thing was just crap, dude. And I'm not gonna be easy on it, but we had this whole like joking theme about like the gooning that's going on in this. But like, man, you watch this, every character in like every scene is fucking got a goon face going on. But like, so it opens up, and I look right away. It's like there's a difference in quality between this movie and even the previous movie, where the lighting is just completely off with the dragon fire and everything. Like everything is just too bright or just weird. It just looks fake. The town looks horrible, like comparatively. I don't know if it's because of the addition of the fire or just something happened with the budget or something. If you remember me mentioning like protests that's going on during the filming of this, if that like affected the but it looked so like I don't know if I'm alone on this.
You
town
are
looks-
alone on this. You are so
Okay.
utterly alone.
Okay.
I don't know that. I mean, the Lake Town was Lake Town. I wasn't thrilled personally with all the extensive Lake Town scenes and all the drama with Bard, this, that, and the other. I thought that was just It didn't need to be there, honestly. My whole thing is this could have been made into 2 very long movies, and it would have been perfect. Except that they had to throw in a whole bunch of crap, and that's that Turiel and Killy or Philly or one
Killy,
of them.
yeah.
Killy.
Doesn't even look like a dwarf.
He doesn't.
I
look like a
mean,
dwarf.
I actually got cringe goose pimples with the one. It starts out very early with the one sort of desperate romantic scene that they sort of have where Killy's running away or she's being called back. I'm just like, this is stupid. I mean, it just should have just said stupid scene, big bold letter.
Well, yeah, it's just like they're acting like they've had all this time to connect, and they had like one scene of them talking with him behind bars, and then like him barely conscious while she saves him.
Well, not only that. I mean, he looks like a 4'2" teenager.
Yeah, they made him that way so people can goon over him.
No,
Is that what it was? Like, oh, he's so handsome.
That's why that's why they made all their beards don't look like dwarven beards, like intentionally so. Like it was just
That's
bad.
so funny. I don't know. I thought the opening scene with Lake Town burning, my only complaint about, I loved it, man. It's happening. I'm like high-fiving the dog. I'm like, yo, this is great. This dragon's wrecking shop. It doesn't look amazing, but it's 10 years old. It's fine. But it was only 10 minutes. 10 minutes.
Well, yeah,
they take out
that
Smaug.
it's right at the beginning. So it's like, oh, the climax. Well, that was early. Oh, what's going on?
It just needed to last longer. I just want to see more dragon action and stuff.
And no, it just needed to be at the end of the previous movie.
Well, the thing is if they didn't bring the dragon over to the other movie, people would have assumed that the second one is done, and they probably wouldn't have gone to the third one. So I could see why they did that. For this movie, 90% of the normies are going to show up because it's got a freaking dragon in it. So if they can put the dragon in 2 movies, it's going to get more normies in there.
Yeah.
So I understand. From
a money perspective, I can understand that. From an artistic perspective,
I
disagree with it.
Well, like I said, should have been 2 freaking movies.
Yeah.
I think it should have been 4.
No,
it's just there's so much mindless action that just
and that was
nothing to
that was
nothing.
The other problem. It was nothing but mindless action, and it reminded me of the movie. I think it's 2012 or something like. You ever seen that movie? One of those apocalypse movies?
Yeah, I never seen it. But
and it starts out, it's action, 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 and it's nonstop action. And after a while, you just sort of become numb.
Right. Yeah.
You need that. You need that. The high point, and then you need some time to decompress, and then another ramp up to a climax, and then decompress, and over and over and over again.
That's so funny.
And it was just boom, 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 and with the war going on and all that other stuff. I fell asleep about halfway through the war, and Zen being Bilbo being knocked out, because that's what I think happened in the movie, pretending he was knocked out. And I can kind of see why, because he probably knew that was what the movie was going to do to it.
Another part of the opening too.
Yeah, I mean, the entire movie was just overloaded. But sorry, what were you saying?
I don't know. It was 10 minutes. I wish the beginning would have been longer. There's some other stuff that they could have cut, but you got a dragon battle, man. You stretch that thing out.
The dragon battle, I didn't mind. That one was actually
so
pretty
short.
good, and it worked. I thought that the whole bard thing with the dragon worked well.
Yeah, this kid brings in the arrow. He puts the arrow on the kid's shoulder. He's like, "Look at me." He's like, "Hold still." And he hits that shot, which is a little bit. It reminded me of those videos where the guy makes it on the first try, but then behind the scenes, it was actually arrow number like 4,221 or something.
Yeah, he had a lot of arrows. No, I would say just go back. If you look, just pay attention to the lighting. You'd notice that there's something weird about it. And then especially the scene after when they're up on land, like that. It's like, whoa, they're not. They're all behind a green screen right now, or in front of green screen, and it's just the lighting is upped by 20 or whatever, and it's just everything's so bright around them. It's insane. kind of goes like that throughout the movie, which is weird because it highlights all the overuse of CGI throughout this movie. So it's so weird.
I mean, that's
Oh,
clear where the budget went to as well. Is just
I'm sure they tried using a trained dragon, but animals are hard to
overused to CGI. I mean, there's things where they could have saved some. I mean,
yeah. Smog, could you
think about the dwarven uncle or whatever relation is to Thorin. He was entirely CGI, and I'm like, why is he CGI? Am I frozen?
You were.
I think everybody's frozen right now.
I'm not frozen.
Yeah, it's just
I ain't frozen, motherfucker.
Yeah, yo.
What's going on?
AC. I was half
Who
hoping
you call frozen,
I think my
Mo?
internet's blacked out.
Yeah, AC. I was half hoping you're gonna have the foil in your teeth tonight after our conversation earlier.
I should have. Yeah, I should have. I should.
Which, if you're not in the Discord,
Yeah.
you should definitely join.
Put that
Yeah,
brick
let
in
me
your
look at that.
face.
My internet's freaking out.
Yeah,
Wife,
that's what I was
what
trying
are
to
you
buy you
doing?
a little bit of time.
Yeah,
Man.
you're starting to hear footsteps. Yeah. Okay. So
That's
the
something.
you know what I'm talking about with the uncle or whatever?
The uncle.
Uncle Arrow.
Yeah, the uncle, the part of the
Oh, yeah.
the guy who's in charge of the dwarven army.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah.
Well, the guy who's riding
was
the
cool.
boar. He's kind of hard to
It
miss.
was cool. Yeah, he was cool.
Right,
Yeah, but
that was-
he himself is
Dane.
entirely CGI.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dane. So he's entirely CGI throughout the entire entire
Yep.
movie, and
Yeah.
it's like,
Don't people normally ride pigs?
our cousin.
Yeah.
Well, they brought in a
But no,
trained
it's
war
like why
pig,
why
but-
did he have to
You
be
seen some of
CGI
those
all the time?
frickin' pigs that they have down in the south running wild? I can
Mhm.
see that
Oh yeah.
happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
I'm-
it seems like they were it was cheaper, I'm guessing, than to deck out a dwarf.
To have
I know,
to have a person. No, I'm not saying the board to do that live action or whatever. I mean the dwarf riding the boar is completely CGI. What's the point of that?
Now, casting trained boar.
I was gonna blame
That's
Peter
right.
Dinklage, but his whole tirade was a decade later, preventing people from getting work. So that couldn't have been him this time. But I
This
mean,
was
yeah,
their. Sorry.
I think they got the huge budget, and they just are like, where they gave us all this extra money. Well, what the heck do we do? And they're like, CGI is expensive. Just dump it into that. And they're like, won't this look bad? And they're just like, just dump it in. What else are we gonna do with it? I don't know.
Well,
That's
I
all
kind
I
of
can figure.
I kind of feel bad too, because as a kid, growing up, as I got more and more into Lord of the Rings and watched the movies over and over again, I was always just like, I want to see more dwarves. I want to see more dwarves, and and this is kind of the karmic justice for everybody's favorite thing, being like, oh, the battle in Two Towers, oh, the battle in Return of the King, the battle, these epic battles. So then the market adjusts accordingly and gives you nothing but battles and dwarves. And
you weren't clapping. You got what you wanted, and you're like, I don't like this. Actually, send it back.
But I mean, this is the thing where Hollywood gets wrong is they can't do big battles, but it felt like they could do it probably because they were following the books in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, where it felt like there was segments happening. There was pieces fitting together in the battles in Lord of the Rings, and this is just okay, clash. And then you have the thing where you have one elf in front of 5 fucking orcs and just battling them all. It's everybody's doing their own thing. At first they go and they build a wall. Immediately they abandon that. The elves jump over it, and then there's no tactics after that. And it's okay, there's absolutely zero flow to this battle. So it's nothing. At some point the elven leader goes from behind the orc line and then is in the keep with his deer thing. It's what's going on? This is so disjointed.
They got to study some Hannibal.
I'll laugh if that pig actually existed and wasn't CGI. Just saying.
And the dwarf was also real.
I'm actually gonna look that
No,
up.
the dwarf was CGI. The pig was real.
That was my pig.
Well, which actually that might have
Hilarious.
worked. You just have to film the pig running in a direction.
Yep. With a big
And then
green
you
block
put
on
a guy
it.
on it.
So,
Yep.
What the difference between this and Lord of the Rings, number one, the battle for Helm's Deep, that had a build up, and then it had a long extended action sequence, and
Mhm.
and it followed the book, and when it was done, it was done. Okay, and then you got this, like I said, that's when you got the time to compress.
Well, yeah, like you got Helm's Deep. You got they're like there's segments. There's different parts of the battle. They're charging up. Then they get to the wall. They're trying to get above the wall. They got the guy running to the wall to explode the wall. Then they got to get behind to their behind lines because the wall was breached. So there's like different things that are happening, different pieces that are happening in the battle to create tension, to have a story that's being taught or told throughout this battle, and there's just none of that. It's just like we're just fighting. That's what's happening. Like, oh, here's a troll. Trolls are here now.
Yeah,
What does that mean?
trolls.
Nothing. Okay, here's because they like the trolls died in like 2 seconds when they charged the doors because
Well, technically
reasons.
speaking, trolls should die because when he hits sunlight.
That I mean there was okay. I don't think technically well it depends on the troll. Depends on the type of troll, I think. But
Sounds an awful lot like the trolls in the first movie. That's the thing.
I agree. But it's like it works. It's like they don't die from the sunlight, but they don't like it, and there's just too much sunlight and going on. I'm like, I don't like it.
So that was a real problem there too. But what it lacked, what this huge battle lacked, is it lacked an element of seriousness, because like with Helm's Deep and Gondor, all of those were desperate battles, and because Sauron was going to crush Gondor and take over the world. If one of those, if they had lost one of them, Sauron would have won. And you also had the acting of the guy who played Theoden. I can't even remember his name now. The acting of Theoden that heavily influenced the dramatic and serious nature of those battles. You had none of that with this. There was who's going to get the gold is what it came down to.
Yeah, stakes. Yeah.
Yeah, and the stakes were not that high. So who's going to get the gold? And it's there's just none of that. There was just nothing there. There was no investment for. I guess there's no investment for the person watching it to want to see one side win or not.
I was gonna say if they would have did a spin-off series and like dove into all the 5 sides and dug into it a little bit and did that good and properly and built up to it or whatever, then maybe because it's my understanding they could have did The Hobbit in like 2 movies, maybe even 1.
I mean, part of the reason is that the Battle of the 5 Armies is like a page. Like it doesn't really happen in the Hobbit book. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. But
I mean, it's all done. It's all done from Bilbo's perspective, but he pretends to be knocked unconscious or whatever, and sits the whole thing out. So,
well, that also helps usually. If you're going to ground it, reader, the observer, into like different characters, point of view characters, they kind of didn't really do that here.
I don't know.
Like
you guys skipped like an hour of the movie that builds up the context that makes stakes during the battle and adds to the whole thing. I did like when I was watching the battle, half of the stuff you're saying, I'm like, what? Like, of course there's like stakes and there's this and that, and you're like, what's happening? The chaos.
Well, because they control that. They're gonna have a high point, like a
even
crucial
like
point to the north.
The people's village gets destroyed, which that scene at the beginning with the Lake Town aftermath, that was pretty intense. It was like, oh man, it wasn't just like, hey, we won. It was like crying and tears. Now eventually they start cheering and there's a great wide shot and there's just a dog walking away from like the crowd.
Well, yeah, but it's also
really
taken down because of the comedy that they were trying to add in there with that worm tongue kind of guy, which was just again so over the top, and that
he was really the trans guy.
He was
talking about the trans guy.
Trans guy.
Yeah.
And then they're so that's whenever what Kiri was like, marry me, Tario. I want to have your little elf babies or whatever back then. So you get a little bit more of the romance. And then she tells him in Elvish, she's like, potato, go, lane, dune, oregano, which is Elvish. I looked it up. I don't know what it means.
It sounds good.
Dune oregano.
Yeah, and then Lakeman
Gets
gets
that to
credit
him.
for the kill, and they sort of celebrate. And then Alfred, which is like the worst name ever, think of the children. Think it's like the Simpsons meme, which that I was like, oh, I understand what they were going for, but his character sucked. It was he was just bad. Although we even mentioned, we forgot to mention too, when they kill Smaug, what does he land on when he dies?
I don't remember.
He
when
lands.
they
He
kill
lands on the
Bobby.
mayor of.
Yeah.
Oh
Right,
yeah,
gold.
Splatters on him. Just skip that over. It was a good scene. That was fun. It was like, yeah, that guy got his comeuppance. Show him have a weird haircut. Get
Yeah,
that.
but my problem is I thought the whole Lake Town thing was overdone, and it was overdone so they could pad it out to 3 movies. A lot of this stuff was overdone so they could pad it out to 3 freaking movies.
Yeah,
so that they
and
could
this-
justify.
Well,
it
everybody
padding
knew
out.
that too when it was announced. Like the second they announced 3 movies for Hobbit, everybody's like, "But how? How are you gonna what?"
But then
How's that
it's
gonna
like,
work?
oh, I don't know. So after Lake Town, then the dwarves they go back into Erebor, and Bilbo's like, we got to leave because Thorin's losing his mind. So you have Thorin. So it's like, what's going on?
Those
with the
were like
dwarves
my
he's been
favorite
traveling
parts.
Yeah, he's going crazy. Bilbo's got the Arkenstone. They don't know that. Like and then he sneaks out or whatever, and his buddy's like, hey, all right, we'll see ya. He knows he's leaving. So you get like that little moment there. And what else is going on there? Yeah, Legolas is talking. He's like, yo, people are gonna want that gold. He's like, people are gonna show up. And even the dwarves are hanging out hoping their boys show up at some point. And
Well, that was
they
the one-
almost don't.
That was the one thing they did right was all the Bilbo stuff. With where he's got the Arkenstone, and Thorin is not behaving well, and he's got a decision he has to make, and that actually kind of follows the book. I mean, kind of. I don't remember the Arkenstone being mentioned in the book. I know that he had something. I think maybe it might have been the crown. But he
That was the Arkenstone.
It was the Arkenstone.
Yeah.
Okay. Like I said, I can't remember if it was in there or not. So, but if he had it, he did trade it for he did trade it for whatever, or offered to trade it, or gave it to the other guys as part of his. And I like that fact. I like that they kind of kept it with not only the spirit of the actual books, but the spirit of the book, even if I didn't think it was the Arkenstone. So that worked. And so the whole Bilbo Baggins stuff I thought was done well. It's just that,
and trust in the betrayal of Thorin, the fault, like the dragon sickness. Like I really enjoyed most of it. Again, some that go a little bit too far. Like a little bit later when like the symbolism of him drowning in the lake of gold. I'm like, oh wow. So subtle.
Well, another thing we skipped over too is whenever Gandalf he's in that cage and Galadriel's like, yo, I'm gonna come get you.
She's
And,
seriously
"Okay."
Galadriel.
Yeah, and then she shows up and
Yep.
she goes like crazy mode, and Elrond's there, and he's got that whole fight scene, which is like the battle. The battle, the CGI bothered me at times, but overall, I was like, yeah, I'm enjoying this. I wasn't like these tactics are ridiculous. I was just like, yo, they're fighting cool. I like action.
No.
This is the karmic.
Horrible.
This is the karma we get for everybody who talks shit about the wizard battle between Saruman and Gandalf. It's part of that. They're like, oh, here's a real one then. Okay, yeah, quote unquote real.
No. What? What?
These are harsh, man. A bunch
This
of
battle sucked. Okay, so first off, I mean, like, let's go through some of the things where it's like, why were the wraiths in their wraith form? Because like it only look kind of like that if they're in the wraith world, or like if they have the ring on. So why aren't they in cloaks?
well,
right?
yeah, but you're seeing it through the eyes of the elves. And Gandalf.
What?
The elves appear differently, and they also have different senses than humans. That's the reason why when Bilbo puts on the ring, he enters the wraith world. But when he sees, God, who was it? He
Yeah, but
sees
the elves aren't. Can they?
Yeah, they can.
Right,
They're not from that world, so they have different. They're able to see different things.
Yeah, he might be by. So same thing to do with Gandalf though, because Gandalf sees
Gandalf.
in
Yeah,
Lord of the
Gandalf is a divine.
No, I know he's a Maiar, but at the same time, in the Lord of the Rings movies, he never sees them as anything else.
But you
cloaked
weren't
figures.
following Gandalf. I mean, you follow Gandalf on certain things, but
That's true.
they didn't make a point of it. And plus,
Fine, I'll allow that.
Well, here's the other
yeah.
here's the other problem with that. You're gonna have Elrond fighting something invisible. So you got to put something in there.
Well, if they don't have
Otherwise,
physical
the guy goes,
forms,
yeah,
they can't-
yeah,
this is
yeah,
the thing.
there's nothing
Sauron doesn't have like he shouldn't be out of Mordor, right? Like he shouldn't be
No,
up in the north.
I think this is Guldur.
Dumbledore. Yep.
And
Right.
this is mentioned in the Silmarillion. This is one of the reasons why Gandalf.
But it's not mentioned that it's Sauron, though. It's mentioned that it's a necromancer.
It's the necromancer.
Right.
But this is how they discovered it's Sauron. Is they
Wait,
knew
but I
the
thought in the
necromancer-
so okay, I'm not familiar with it, but I thought in the Silmarillion never said that it was Sauron.
Yeah, well, Gandalf always is showing up and then disappearing, showing up and disappearing throughout the entire Hobbit. That's part of the reason why, or at least that's how that's what they backfilled it. Or Tolkien backfilled it, was that he was out. He was out doing stuff with the White Council and following after Sauron, and this did actually happen according to the Silmarillion, if I remember correctly. Putting in a lot of caveats there. This did actually happen during the events of the Hobbit, which that part I think is cool because what they're doing is they're actually sticking to the freaking books.
Yeah, I don't know. I just didn't think he could leave like the Mordor area because of the state he's in, right? Like,
he set up residence in Dol Guldur, and he started. That's the reason why because it's at the bottom. I think it's at the southern tip of Mirkwood or Greenwood, and that's the reason why I turned into Mirkwood is because the necromancer showed up there, and then the next thing you know, all these terrible things like the spiders start showing up.
Well, yeah.
So that's how it changes from Greenwood to Mirkwood, and that's why what's his name, what's his name?
Elrond?
Thranduil.
Oh, the
Elf King guy.
The Elven King, the Trans Elven King.
Yeah. Okay.
Very
I'll accept all those.
He's well groomed.
So
now
that is actually part of the lore, and that's actually part of the books.
Okay,
and
I'll
the White
accept
Council
those.
one and
But
the other one,
fighting,
that's also part of the books too.
Either way, the fighting was terrible. Like seeing Saruman like whipping his fucking nay with his goddamn staff over there was just so bad. Like pew pew pew, look at me.
I don't know. It wasn't.
I like
Galadriel,
it
good, but I don't think it was as
why
bad
did
as you're
Galadriel
saying.
take that form? Like that it was supposed to, like it's such a stupid callback to Lord of the Rings when she like supposed to be the image of like when she's fearful or when she's fearful to others, where like the possible future of her having the one ring. Like that's not her power up mode.
Dark Lady.
Why did they do that?
I thought it was.
That's the karmic.
Yeah, she
that's
is
the karmic. Sorry, you go.
No, go ahead.
Okay, real quick. That's the karmic justice from all the ladies that were like, I wanted to see Galadriel take her hair down and take the ring and become all powerful. They're like, okay, put that in there too. And so, yeah, this is what we're seeing. It's a Frankenstein movie. If it's rated R, why didn't you treat it like it's rated R? You know what they would have done with a modern Lord of the Rings rated R. You guys already know what they would have done with that. There would have been nudity. I'll just say that right off the bat. There would have been nudity in modern Lord of the Rings R.
Where are you going?
But I digress. That's it. I'm just ranting. I'm just ranting at this point.
So,
you're saying if they made it now, they would put it in there because they think it would sell well. So they put Goonladriel in there, going Goonladriel mode, powering up because
dude, she was in her Gooner form.
Yeah,
it's
for
they're like, I want to see her take her hair down and become like, powerful Galadriel or whatever.
Well, not to mention she's married and gooning over Goondoff. Like, what's up with that?
That was,
and that's even mentioned in an interview. She's like, yeah, that look was like, if things were different. And it's like, no.
No.
That's in an interview, yes.
I just didn't get that vibe at all. I thought she was you're my friend.
I will say this about
but it was in an interview.
I will say this about the Galadriel stuff. Number one, she does hold one of the 3 elven rings. Elrond holds the other.
Right.
Elrond's is preserving. I forget what hers is, but hers is the ring.
He's got the Yeah, she's got the water ring. I think actually healing is involved with it, but it's like that's what keeps it's all of them are very mysterious, right? One's
And-
but
And
yeah.
And she is one of the things that Tolkien did point out is she's exceptionally powerful. She's very old.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I think
Right.
she's older than her own frickin' husband.
She's older than Elrond.
Yeah. And I think Elrond is like her grandson or something like that. Anyways.
She's the only original ring holder.
Yeah. And so and she is very powerful. I mean, it's by her will alone that she's managed to hold Lothlorien off against any sort of problems or a lot of the issues that were going on.
Yeah,
and actually, I think that this is I think this is like an echo to Melian, who if you read the Silmarillion, I think she was the Queen of Doriath, and she was actually I think a Maiar who was married to one of the some elf lord. And she had her power. She was able to protect an entire region. They called it the Girdle of Melian or something like that. So this kind of has echoes to some of that. So I'm kind of, I think you're right with the whole Dark Queen thing.
Right. That's like it was a cheesy callback, which I did not appreciate. She shouldn't have. Like she looked like she was the freaking thing from The Grudge.
I did not appreciate the callback.
Like she looked like the chick coming out of the TV in the it was a ring. It's bad. It's bad. It worked in Lord of the Rings very well. Did not work in this at all. It was bad. And not to mention the lines that she's saying. Do you remember any of the lines she's saying? She's recalling a bunch of Lord of the Rings lines. You have no power here. And then it's like, no, but Sauron does have power here. Like, what do you mean?
He does. Yep.
That's true. It's like actually you wouldn't be here if he didn't have power here. So what's up with that?
What was she supposed
to say? Back where there once came from. Like so what is this? What am I watching?
What is she supposed to say? Hey, you're not go away. Like
I don't know, something better. Like she could just shine the light, maybe 3 words. She didn't have to do this. Like recite every big line from Lord of the Rings. Where she could have spoken Elvish.
Please leave, please.
No, or she could have spoken Elvish, which would make more sense.
Oh. Yeah, Elvish. Oh, you froze. See, that's what happens. You're still frozen.
You're being English.
Oh, now you're back.
I still didn't appreciate the dialogue. It was not really in character.
It just makes no sense that she was speaking English.
I really didn't appreciate that with Galadriel.
Elvish would have sounded cooler for sure. Maybe if they got the right words in there.
Yeah, now that you say it, yeah, that actually would have worked.
And then whenever Sauron leaves, Saruman's like, I'll go check on him. Let me just go see how he.
And Elrond, Elrond would have wore a full helm because it protects his beautiful face. It's really not very realistic.
Anyways, no, the whole thing was really cheesy.
You're all gooners. Gooner.
It's not my fault. They wrote it that way.
Yeah, they were a bunch of gooners on this, though, for sure.
And they're like, this place, it's taking Gandalf's power or whatever. It's draining him. And I'm like, oh, why is it draining him? Saruman's fine. Like, what?
Well, Gandalf got. That's once again, Gandalf got caught. If I remember correctly, the story is that Gandalf got caught investigating Dol Guldur, and he was kept as prisoner. And that's where he met what's his name, Thorin's father or grandfather.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So
it wasn't Thrain. Thrain.
No, I got so excited when Radagast popped up in his fucking bunny sled. I'm like, pop that grind, bro. Pop that grind. He takes Gandalf, right? Like runs away, and I'm like, but why? Like Galadriel scared away like 2 seconds.
Run
They gotta get out of
away,
there,
run
man. They gotta go.
away.
They gots to go. And then
It just was bad. It was bad. Can you not admit that it was bad?
They
It was bad.
they absolutely used
I
the
wouldn't say
wrong
bad. I would say it was a little
rabbits
rough.
for that scene.
Radagast, I'm proud to say, was our first on-screen druid in history. You know, as to use the terminology.
He's a
of
wizard,
Star Wars.
actually.
Yeah.
No, sir, that is a druid. I see a
It's
druid.
Radagast
Bird shit
is
and everything.
literally a wizard. The brown wizard, actually.
Bird shit and everything, brother. That's
You know,
a
if we
druid.
wanted to be accurate,
that's
to
all
the
goon,
book,
dude.
if we wanted to be
That's all
accurate
goon,
to the
yeah.
books, it should have been badgers, not rabbits.
That would have been cool. They should have mixed it up. They should have had badgers riding like horseback style on
Yeah.
the rabbits.
With
Like it's a
dwarves
double
on
musk
top
train.
of them.
Yes, there you go. We might as well. Why not just have like one? Like, wait, was that dwarf?
Actually, that would have been
freeze
pretty
frame.
cool with Dane
There's
riding into battle on a badger.
Oh, dude.
There's like
huge
another
badger.
chase scene, and then they get to a river, and then he's like, "Quick, help my friends!" And a bunch of badgers come out and start building
Yeah.
it, or beavers come out and start building a dam.
And then
It's a
David
better
the
snow
gnome
ride
is
over.
there for no reason. He
Yeah.
just shows up. Like, is that David the gnome? Why is he here? That's
Yeah.
weird. What a strange
And Snow
callback
White
that
comes
most of
out
you
on a
probably don't
horse with
get.
armor. Snow White comes out on a horse with armor, and she's just like, "Come and claim him."
That's next
I
year.
don't know.
That's next
Something
year.
like
You
that.
gotta wait for that
This
one.
is true. This is true.
Yeah.
Okay. What happened after that? Terrible.
So
scene.
after that, Radagast gives Gandalf gives him his staff,
I thought that
and
was
then
pretty
after
good.
that, Thorn is still losing his business, and he's like, "Hey, Bilbo, you have my rock," and Bilbo's like, "Oh no, it's an acorn." And then there's actually kind of a nice scene there. He's like, "Look, I took this acorn because I'll plant a tree, and one day the tree will grow, and I'll look at it and say, oh yes, I remember that." That was a nice little scene. And then Thorn
Yeah, it
snaps
was
out of
fun.
it for a brief minute. Yeah, it was nice. It's
Yeah.
touching, you know.
No, like I said, I like the majority of the scenes with Bilbo and Thorin, and like the trust he had in him, and then him having to like go behind Thorin's back because
Yeah.
it's what he needs. Yeah.
No,
Yep.
that's somewhat accurate to the book, although I don't remember dragon fever. I thought that I couldn't stand that dragon fever thing. It's got dragon
Oh, yeah.
fever.
Sick.
Shut
Dragon
up.
Sickness.
No,
That
that's
sounds
just
like,
the
like-
inherent. Yeah.
But I mean,
Like
you know, what they could have done is they could have tied it to something with one of the dwarven rings, the lust for gold. And I thought that would have been, I think, a little bit more compelling than dragon sickness.
That's what I assumed, Herman. That's what I assumed, and I was corrected, and it was so much gayer after I was corrected. I'm just
Exactly.
like, what the hell? I'm like, wait, they got dwarven rings, right? Oh, so we're seeing the end result of like the ring of power and the corruption.
Yeah,
of
the
dwarf. It's
influence.
like, no.
Because what's his name, Thror or whatever his name was, he had the ring, and it was when Gandalf found him in Dol Guldur that the ring had been taken away from him, and it
Guldur.
shattered him. He was just a complete mess, and so having something like that affect maybe later generations who were near it, I think would have been really
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of like a really
Well,
cool
that
thing.
yeah,
Oh,
that
yeah.
would have had to been a movie change, which I could have accepted that as a movie change. I don't know if everyone
Well, they're
would,
trying.
because that
at
like
that
I
point.
mean at that point the rings weren't a thing when the Hobbit was written.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, they had the option of hindsight, and they're going to change the story anyways. At least try and keep it within the actual freaking lore.
they're gonna
Yeah,
they're
that's
gonna
what
put a
I'm
love triangle in there and like.
Oh, no.
I
No.
mean, they're making.
I'm
they're-
still blown
they
away that
kind-
it's rated R and it had all that stupid stuff in there. I'm like, dude,
They
get
kind-
serious with it.
They kind of
That's-
made it sound like Thorin got monkeypox.
he did.
It's dragon pox. It's
thing I
dragon
didn't know-
pox.
Another thing I didn't understand with it was
You
Alfred.
don't want to
who was
apply
like,
the salve. You really don't want to apply the salve. Let him do that himself.
No, who
In
was
the-
the dwarf that fell in love with never mind, that's a bad joke. Moving on.
Okay. Another thing that bothered me with this was that in Lake Town, Alfred, they're like, oh, Alfred's he's just like he's He's not to be trusted. But then Gandalf's like telling him to do something, and Bard is telling him to do something. I'm like, why are you guys trusting this dude with anything? He's proven he's a snake in the grass.
Yes.
So that was kind of weird. I don't know if they were like, we'll just do this because eventually he'll flip. I have no idea. It was weird. And there was even a point where the villagers turned on him, and Bard's like, no. I just
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm stopping you, but don't.
How does
please? I'm
how
like,
does
okay.
succession work? How does succession work in Lake Town too? Like they're just like this guy's king governor now, or okay,
Yeah, mob rule, man.
all right,
Mob rule.
moving on.
In that circumstance, I mean, it was so messed up, and they lost all those people. It was just kind of like whoever, and then they go to. Did they go to Dale after that? They like retreat to Dale, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
the
then that's when
the original city that got
yeah,
burned up.
and that's when Thranduil or whatever his name shows up with his cool reindeer, his awesome reindeer.
It's cool.
His big, strong, tough reindeer that definitely lifts in his free time shows up. And he's like, I brought you all food with my head.
I did kind of like
it.
And as much as I talk about him being a trans elf lord,
yeah.
he does look like, I mean, the whole getup I thought looked really cool.
Same with the CGI dwarves. That was, again,
Yes.
just to call back to all the other common things I'm noticing now that we're discussing it here. The CGI dwarf bats is directly to people like us and my wife who are like, they don't even look like dwarves. Or they're like, oh, we'll fucking make it look like dwarves for you then. And the elk / reindeer, that's a clear symbol of the elk. Hold on. The elk / reindeer is the clear symbol of the forest because like their antlers are a crown, and it was a king riding the elk / reindeer, right? The trans,
right? Yeah,
the trans elf. But yeah, the dwarf thing though. That's what I was.
Wait, but
saying.
why? Yeah, but what? You do know people can grow like beards. Like,
they can,
or they have fake. They can just glue it. It doesn't
they're
have
lazy.
CGI.
They're lazy, so maybe they tried.
That's easier. Like it's harder to do the CGI.
It is, but I don't know. They have like the cool kids club, you know, like we'll only hire certain actors or something. Who knows what happened? They clearly made a stupid decision. Bats is what I'm saying. But like I feel like it's a stupid band-aid that they put over it just to make sure it still looked like a dwarf or something. Like I don't know.
Well, anyways, but like okay, so you have the humans pop up, which is like they were so small, and like if you notice, it's men and women, right? And so I was like, okay, that makes sense, right? 'Cause they're like they have no numbers, right? But then I'm like, but there's elves there, like they're really not helping at all, right? And then there's like this other funny thing that happens where they're like retreating and they're like, protect the women and children. The women and children must go retreat or whatever, right? And it's like, dude, the women are in the army. What are you talking about? Like, what's going on here?
Yeah, I wasn't too thrilled about the whole human army thing.
What's the white gems of Lasglin? I don't know if that's even what he said.
That's actually another throwback from the Silmarillion, and I don't think it was. I think it was another elf lord, and that's one of the things that started the enmity between the elves and the dwarves, and that goes back to I think maybe the first age. So they threw that in there.
Are those shards of the Silmaril? Are those shards of
No, those are not shards of the Silmaril. That's they're just these precious gems that the elves love.
I feel like this is a missed opportunity from Tolkien. I mean, rest in peace, Tolkien. But like a little bit, like the Arkenstone, this necklace with the shards or whatever. These could all be different Silmarils.
You already answered it. 1 second, my wife wants to answer the whatever question. I'm sorry.
Oh yes,
I've been distracted, so I don't even know what the question is. But yeah, go for it.
Bring in the sea wife.
Okay, go.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so they were being made for his wife, Legolas's mother, before she was killed in battle, and he never got the chance to give them to her. So it was like a super poignant, very precious to him kind of thing. And then the dwarves were basically holding them ransom for an exorbitant amount of money, and he didn't want to pay it, and that's where a lot of that ended came from.
Okay.
Gotcha.
You guys got
by the way. Yeah, I like to as I'm watching and staring at the two of you, I feel like I'm wearing the ring because you guys keep flickering with your green screens, and I also feel like I'm watching The Hobbit because you both have clear green screens going on too. So it's a double whammy here.
Yeah, I'm in the ethereal world.
Yes. So he goes.
I must be the only person who has a background they can be proud of in my cigar. Or my cigar.
Like the Cimarrons, like didn't, as far as I know, like grant powers, at least that we know of. They just shined really bright. That's why they like
Yeah,
them.
I mean there were there's a I don't want to say a fan theory that the Arkenstone was actually a Cimarron.
I've
Because the
seen that
Cimarrons were
like
lost.
disproven pretty hard though, because of the last known places.
Yeah.
That it's very unlikely. But
But
I know.
I mean it was Feanor's ultimate craft and skill, and they were tapped.
Right.
They were lit from the light of the trees, and
Right.
so that's
Man.
what made them so precious.
It's amazing. So it had the light of the. It had. Let me get this straight. The original light of that tree that the elves
Two
worshipped,
trees, yeah.
that Ungoliant sucked the light off.
Yes.
Okay, that
Yeah.
would explain why it's precious. That makes more sense. The heart of
Yeah,
the
but
mountain, the Arkenstone, makes a little less
it's not
sense.
the only reason. Like it's just it's one of those things that was crafted so preciously that it's like something that like
Yeah.
is just magical because of that.
Yeah.
But like there's no, it's not like the ring or any of the rings that have like magic that come along with it. They like the shiny.
Mhm.
Like birds.
That's really it. I mean, it does burn Morgoth's head, but that's because of like how good the light is, and he's so evil. But you know, he wears the crown with the Cimarrons on it, and the light burns his head, so his head is constantly on fire.
No, that's fun.
But
Like
the
Marv from
actual
Home Alone.
stones they're talking about are actually referenced in the Cimarron or in the Cimmerillion, and that's one of the things that starts the enmity between the dwarves and the elves.
Gotcha.
Is the unwillingness for the dwarves to part with those. So
It cracks me up though at Erebor, the dwarves, they're just stacking these huge rocks. They're like, there's 7 of you, and there's a standing army walking up, like, put the rocks. I'm like, there's 7 guys, it's gonna happen. And
Yeah,
so they come up to negotiate, and I believe Gandalf's there to negotiate in that scene. And Thorin's like, no, y'all go back where you came from. I was like, really? There's 7 of you. Like, what are you doing? And he's got that bow and arrow. He's like, oh, the next one I'll shoot you. The promise. It's like, dude, what the heck? They could have just arrow sniped all 7 of them right there. And like, no, we'll wait till morning and then we'll get them. And I was like, these guys, I know that Thorin was losing his mind. The other guys might have been, might need a change of breeches. You have a standing elf army ready to come get you in the morning, and you're just hanging out because your crazy king is like, no, we're not giving them any gold. No, it's our gold.
Plus, they didn't do anything. Like
Who
they
didn't do
didn't do anything with the dragon. They just woke it up. Like, that's all they did.
Yeah.
And the humans took care of everything else. So it's like, why do you get any of this?
I don't even think they argued that. That would have been a great point if the humans were like, we took down the dragon, so because of that, I don't even think they mentioned that, but that's a really good point.
Yeah, it's almost like, in fact, you owe us money. You owe us money. Yeah.
At least
You
a
owe us
little bit
more.
of gold. Killed a dragon. Burn our. We at least
like
need
you
to
threw
rebuild
the dragon
our
at
city.
us. Yeah.
It's the whole thing.
Your
Part of the
fault.
deal is that they're going to go there and take it over, not wake it up, and the humans take care of the mess.
Yeah,
Like,
seriously. And I mean, it's gonna take FEMA like months to get there, so they gotta, get some of that gold.
I foresee massive tariffs against the dwarves. Like, it's gonna be bad.
Yeah, for sure. At very least.
But I mean, the big thing is that they were able to get a letter out to their neighbors, which they are close by. So them getting there that quickly is kind of reasonable, right?
Mhm.
So they just needed to wait until they got there, and then now we have an army.
Yeah,
So
but I think Thorin. I think Thorin's greed and his stubbornness, and it wasn't just Thorin; it would have been all of them. Their greed and their stubbornness, I think, would have been something better to play off of than what they did. Because that's the thing. You're sitting there, it's like they didn't really do anything. They just sort of took credit for Spawn getting killed. The guy did actually, and that's kind of what the book really was about. But at the same time, Tolkien also had his lore about the dwarves. that they were very stubborn and that they were kind of petty. And that, I think, probably would have worked a lot better. But then again, nobody would have liked Thorin.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah,
can't
so
build
it's just
Thorin
like-
up to be a good guy and then make him be a complete jerkwad.
Yeah, and he kind of does just get over his sickness.
Yes, in a very Gooner way.
Yeah, he gooned all over at Ereborn, and then just that was the end of that. But yeah, no, I mean, okay, so we got the fight, right, and like, so you got the eagles that come in and drop the man bear, not man bear pig, although there was a pig and a man bear, so. But and then like you have the bats that come in with the other orcs and everything like that, and there's just things happening. Then there's like a troll with like a headpiece, and he runs into the wall, and the wall explodes, and just like again, I'm like, what is going on? Just things are happening. That's all the only way you could describe it. Really, is things are happening.
I mean, yeah, it's like battles crazy. Things just happen like that. It's
It's
not like-
crazy. It just
No.
happened.
Yeah. Dude, there's so much cool stuff going on. You're like, I don't like the cool thing because it doesn't make sense. Like, it's just, who cares? It's cool. It's really cool. We
But
got
it's all
bats
just so
flying around.
random. It means nothing because they're just like, okay, if we want whatever to happen, it's going to happen. There's no like, that's what I'm saying. There's no real stakes to the battle because you don't know the momentum or anything that's happening with the battle itself. Like you don't know the condition of any of the armies. You just know they're there. Like
They
that's
give you
it.
a sense of how the tide is going. Like whenever the dwarves
No.
first attack the elves and they plow through their lines and they shoot the arrows, and that was like their first salvo, and then they shoot the twirlies and defend themselves, and then the twirlies take out.
That
like,
was
the
kinda
dwarves are
cool.
winning. Yeah. And then they go the other direction because the orcs show up on the hill, and it's like you got bats, you got these war pigs, you got goats, you got earth eaters, you got
I
all
like the
kinds
goats.
of-
I'm not gonna lie, but
yeah, and then these
Yeah.
giant guys show up. Anytime a giant guy shows up on the field, it's like, oh, a giant guy. Those are bad. This is not gonna go well. It's like
okay.
another
So
threat.
like they got like okay, they're
they're smashing.
we're like,
people.
oh, the line of the dwarves and the elves are thinned out. They're pushed up against the wall. Oh, no. And there's this massive army with big giant trolls. We're screwed.
Huge
Oh no!
tracts of land.
Five dwarves added to the fight. All of a sudden, nope. One shot the trolls and then plow through the army. You're like, what? What is going on?
Yep. They need to. Oh, this is my point earlier. This is my point earlier. They need to study some Roman tactics. They need to look at some of the great battles in history. Look at Napoleon. Look at Alexander
There's no
the Great.
tactics or anything going on.
Like, come on, this isn't even like what? Like, you could do so much cool shit. Like, okay, off the top of my head, like the dwarves come in with, the ones that shot the twirly things. They set up a camp somewhere off to the side. Now it's kind of dynamic. They're like outsiders, but they're still like helping protect. Okay, now you can have like some skirmishes happen, and it's like a slow burn, and it's like interesting and compelling, and there's actual tactics.
They really should have just followed Bilbo,
Five
and they should
armies
only
come
follow
together and butt heads, and you're like, oh, I want something slow on the outskirts. The geography of the land didn't allow
It's
for it.
cool on paper, but like the thing is,
Everything
they
came to a head
messed
right
it
at the
up. You
same
can't just
time.
be like, oh, we added a bunch of stuff. There's just a bunch of stuff. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
There's
How
there's
does it
no
not make sense?
strings
They have
connecting
things, they
anything
brought 'em.
together. It's just stuff.
What do you mean? It's if you're fighting an army, you don't have all the recon and everything they're coming. It's not like they have spy drones being like, yo, they got some ogres coming. And they
No,
have these
whoa! What is this straw man? There's spy drones. No, we can go back to the Lord of the Rings, how they did it, where I mentioned with Helm's Deep. There was like stages of the fight, and you can follow. They can easily follow what's happening and what stage of the fight they're at.
Because Helm's
Like,
Deep was one location, and you have one army going at one location. This is two armies. Then there's coming from the
It's
side.
easier to do.
They got Earth Eaters. They got like three different. They got Dale over here getting attacked, and they split up their ranks. I thought it was communicated.
No, I get it. It's easier to track. It is easier to do, and that's probably a big reason why it worked so well. But
technically,
that's why
the elves would have had spy satellites. It's definitely in the Silmarillion.
Oh shit.
Herman's right.
That's-
Herman's right.
That's why it doesn't. It's like, yeah, if you're gonna have 5 battles like go against each other, and to try to pull that off successfully is really, really difficult. But then you could look at what's the battle in Gondor. Like, there's a lot more forces there. You got the Gondorians, you got the orcs, you have the human or the Rohirrians, then you also have the Men of the West, and then you have the Ghost. Like, there's a lot of different elements thrown in there. Like, we're not just at 5 armies, but again, we could see the stages of the fight. We can follow along the pacing of it. It gets way easier to track what's going on here, like on 10, like by tenfold. Like, there's none of that in the Battle of 5 Armies.
I didn't feel like it was hard to track. That's what's confusing to me because I'm watching it and they say like, oh no, they're going that way, and Gandalf's like, oh, they're trying to split them up. We got to go to Dale, and then like some of the ranks go there, like.
But they're not
tell you what's
showing that.
happening.
They're just saying things.
Well, they show it kind of, and then they tell you on top of that. So you get a little bit of a momentum swing visually, like the Order guys are smashing everybody for a little bit. You're like, oh, this is bad news, and then they take the
It's
one
like
down.
you don't
it's like,
feel
okay.
the weight of it. Like when you see the Rohirrians charged against the elephant, you feel the emotional impact of that. When Thorin comes back to fight with the elves and the dwarves to try to push back against the trolls, you feel none of that because they're just like, oh, we're doing just fine because Thorin's here. So,
oh, look, another army. Let's fight them. You know.
Yeah.
There's no.
look over there.
The
Look
thing
over
is
there!
that it
Yeah.
was, yeah.
It's just like the hits keep coming, and then they got monsters, and there's these giant.
The impact of the eagles being thrown in there meant nothing. They're just like, eagles are here.
Yeah.
Okay, we're not being
Eagles are there.
decimated.
How does it mean nothing?
But then, like, what do the eagles mean? 5 minutes later in the fight, it's just like, yeah, they're still there. They're fighting the bats. Like,
right, they took out a bunch of dudes. Yeah, that's like moving numbers a little bit. It's like one side shows up, you're like, oh no, but then you got your thing, and you're like, okay, we're balanced again, and we can do whatever.
The Eagles show up because in the Battle of 5 Armies.
Well, I'm not saying there's a problem with having them there.
The Eagles show up because in the Battle of the 5 Armies, the combined armies, the dwarves, humans, and the elves are getting their asses kicked. Yeah. And that's when the Eagles have to show up and sort of become the great equalizer. And
no, I get that they're there.
No. That's what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, of course, I might have fell asleep at this point because I was getting bored. But it's like, why the Eagles showed up to snatch, Frodo and Sam.
Yeah.
And why the eagle was there to take away Gandalf was because there was basically divine intervention. The eagles are from Manwë. And so so they're kind of like an indicator of divine intervention. Yeah. It would have been better. Honestly, this whole thing would have been better if they would have just stuck to the book.
Yeah.
Because there was a reason why all those guys were there. And then when the orcs and the goblins showed up, there was a reason for them to turn around and fight the goblins. And they were outnumbered. Then they get to this whole part where, Thorin's gonna take out Azog or whatever his name is. Oh, we're gonna cut the head off the snake. No, you're not. This goblin, you're gonna kill this guy. The goblins are gonna kill everything. They're not gonna run away. So
and then that's the other thing: the switching back and forth between you got the big army, and then we're going to the dwarves, or we're going to the guy trying to be a tranny.
He decapitates like 7 guys on his reindeer.
Yeah, pop, head pops off, butter armor. Oh, you got a chest plate? Let me just stab right through that.
Yeah.
Okay,
he swung hard, right angle. Yeah.
Oh my god, what's the point of wearing armor at that point?
It didn't matter whenever you're the cool elf guy with the nice hair riding the reindeer.
The elves, left and right. Super powered elves. Oh, yeah, okay.
Well, no. Now here's another thing.
I will say that the deer cutting the heads off, cool.
Yeah.
But
the elf lords were more powerful. Remember, it was an elf lord that took on a Balrog, and it was alone. It was also an elf lord that took on Morgoth.
Yeah.
Of course, later on in Morgoth's life when he was much diminished. But so elf lords, you don't mess with those things. Okay, no, you don't mess with those guys. So
it's just cringy though, doing the backhanded dual sword thing. Cringy as hell. Yeah. You don't know what I'm talking about? He had the swords.
That's known as an elf style of fighting. It's very well known. It's in the Silmarillion.
No, I don't know. Emily, you're not going to convince me at all that these battles were
I don't know how.
at all
You're
done
like Highlander.
well.
Of course, I'm not going to convince you.
I
knew.
think the battles outlasted. I think they outlasted. Like I said, I fell freaking asleep in the middle of a war scene. I mean,
I did not. I woke up.
Amazing.
Any of those
Here we go,
fights
let's go.
dragged on.
Yeah.
It's action, man. It's
And-
fun.
and
It's
it's
like,
like
yeah, get that
the-
guy. Oh, that guy got stabbed. Oh man, this is happening. It's just it's action.
We're
It's
gonna
exciting.
cut your head
And then,
off.
like when
Yeah.
Azog's under the water,
Well, that
like
was dumb.
Thorin is like, let me follow him.
Yeah.
And then he explodes through the ice, which it's just so
Well, yeah.
silly.
Well, yeah. I mean, they escape on the ice, which is like whatever, and then the old dude bails. They're like, oh, once again, something's too heavy, because that happened with the boat. Whenever the king threw Alfred off the boat too, and then they're like, how do we get rid of one of these people? And again, he's just like, it's too heavy. He's like, well, I guess I'll jump off. I'm getting too old for this. It's like, that's what? Really? That's it? They're too
Yeah.
heavy? Like 90 pounds or 80 pounds. What does a dwarf weigh? 150 maybe? Those guys
More than
aren't-
a
they
man, I
can't weigh
think.
that much. Really?
More than a man. Yeah.
Yeah.
They have dense
I don't know.
bones.
Oh, well,
Lots of muscle.
I thought that was a little like, I don't know. When they threw him off, I was like, I don't like that much. And they already threw
Well,
off the other
you
guy
do-
to make something lighter.
Elves do technically only weigh as much as a feather.
How
So
much?
there is that. That's why Legolas is able to like walk on the snow. And then there's the
Maybe-
infamous scene
Maybe
with
that's
him like
Turiel's
jumping up the
attraction.
rocks.
She likes dense men.
So dwarves weigh about the same as like a bigger dude.
Tubby
So
chaser.
190 to 250. It's not like they wear hundreds or weigh like hundreds and hundreds of pounds. So, anyways,
Yeah.
whatever. I'll let it slide. But yeah, that's whenever they go out, and then Bilbo goes after the dwarves and all that, and then Toriel, what was it? Oh yeah, Toriel. Legolas stops that dude. That the Thranduil is gonna take out Toriel, and then Legolas. stops him.
I like heavy, dense men with beards. Hairy,
You're right.
heavy, dense men.
And again,
that
all that
also-
fighting that's happening in there, I'm just rolling my eyes. It's just
Why? Legolas is being a boss. He's taking on like 90 dudes by
Legolas.
himself.
It's just so
awesome.
like
cool.
it was. Oh, look, it was over the
fun
like
to watch.
right,
Entertaining.
like a touch
Exhilarating.
over the line, of over the top in Lord of the Rings, and this one he just leaps right over that line. It's so crazy, ridiculous. Like just
Yeah,
it's
No,
not
King
cool.
Bob, I am
It
not
was
coming
bad
after
writing.
you.
I liked it.
It's basically like actually this guy. This guy's got a big sword. Well, actually, he negates the sword, and he's dead now. Actually,
Yep.
It's Legolas.
That's what happened. Yes.
Yeah.
That guy's got
Big
like
sword.
a big like 6 men. Well, technically, Legolas they're dead. It's like that's all that keeps happening. It's just
I'm
like
like, wait, it's
Actually-
Legolas? Okay, we're good. As long as it's
he
Legolas, we're fine.
stabs the orc. The orc has armor. He's so strong. It goes
He
right
is.
through the armor.
Right through him.
And
Right through him.
technically, Legolas, you're dead.
And you will be happy to know they fixed his contacts in this one, which was nice to see.
They
I
did. I,
was
did
happy to
notice
know
that.
that.
I meant to mention that. Like they were
I'm happy to know
noticeably more normal.
Yes. Because I was looking for it after that first movie you pointed out. I was looking for it, and I'm like, no, those look correct blue, more natural than the.
I wonder if the production team just got like scammed 2 times. Like the first time was when they did all 3 of the first ones, and the second one was for the first couple Hobbit movies or whatever. And then they finally fixed it and got some real contacts for them.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
They had somebody point it out or something.
yeah,
will
yeah.
Or
say-
they just didn't. They couldn't afford the contacts this time. They nobody ever told them they're bad. They're just like, oh, we can't afford them.
What?
the
Lord of the
battles
Rings.
inside of that little ice fort, though, Legolas had all the coolest moments, bar none. He was doing all the cool stuff. What happened with Toriel? She fell off that thing, and then he killed Killy or whatever. I'm like, well, that was pointless. The dude didn't even put up a fight. He stabbed that guy, and he jumps down. He stabs him like in the neck. It's like, why don't you just stab him in the top of his head and just kill him? Because that's what Legolas does later on. You know why? Because he wasn't Legolas.
'Cause
He
men are
couldn't do it.
better.
He tried. The knife would have deflected off of his cranium. That's why I had to stab him here where he's softer. But Legolas, so awesome. He was able to stab right through.
Thinking like a man, you know?
Right
Like,
through. But yeah, that
You're
guy was
losing
like
me
just showed up
bad.
just to
This
die.
is
And then Thorin, his fight was stupid. Although I liked when he
Are
stepped
you,
off
are you
the-
seriously on the edge of your seat while these fights are going on? Because you know that, like, especially it's bad because you
I
know
don't
Legolas
have to
survives
be
all
on the
this, but
edge
you're
of my
just like,
seat. I just have to be,
well, that's the
enjoying
thing. There's no
myself.
tension. There's no tension in any of these fights. You're just like, this is what's gonna happen.
I wasn't going,
gotta agree.
what's this happening? I was like, yeah, get him. Oh no. Oh, they killed that guy like that? Oh, that's kind of lame. All right, go get this guy. Oh, look at Legolas.
Heavily
Looks like he's
likes
falling
fun.
apart. Yo, he's running up the rocks. And I'm like, that looks kind of silly, but whatever. It's like a video game, and he's stabbing that dude, and everything's falling apart, and he's sniping guys from
Turns
that tower and everything. Runs out of arrows. Now what? You
Turns
get
into
down
Mario
there?
for a second. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Throwing the sound effects.
Well, but
And
yeah,
then-
but like I'm saying, this is happening at this point for about 30. All of these weird sort of like super battle scenes are happening for like 30 minutes at this point, and it's like after a while you're just sort of, yeah, okay, whatever.
I was enjoying it, except whenever he throws the rock at the guy, I was like, oh, he got him. He threw the rock, and then he steps off. I was like, oh, and then the weight goes. And he's like, oh, no. It was like a teeter-totter, but on the iceberg, and he falls in. I'm like,
Yeah.
you got him. But then to your point.
Yeah,
was
it's just them
super dumb.
again rehashing scenes from the original trilogy. It's supposed to be looking like the Witch King with his flail mace thing.
Oh, I just meant when he puts him in the water was cool. But then he falls in, which is dumb. And then he stabs him in the foot through the ice, which was dumb. And then he shoots out of the ice like a whale breaching, which made no sense. That was just dumb.
Yeah.
And then I hate whenever it's like the good guy and the bad guy kill each other. That drives me nuts. I hate that. It's like
But the
let
thing
good
is
guy
that
win.
Thorin in the books dies.
Yeah, I know, but I just didn't like the way they did it, I guess. It was just
And-
like
Yeah,
I'm
but
gonna
that's
let
the other
myself
thing.
get stabbed so I can get you. Like, come on, dude. You're an
And that's
idiot.
the
Like,
other
why'd you
thing.
follow me?
Azog should have never even been there. He was not part of the movie. He was not part of the. He was not part of the original book. I mean, I think he's supposed to be dead. Everybody thinks he's supposed to be dead before the Hobbit even happens.
I mean, I think it was a fine addition. Like, they needed a good antagonist. I think he filled that role.
Yeah.
Like,
some good moments throughout the
decently
movies.
enough. Like, as far as additions go, like, I kind of like that.
I like Blog better. Whatever his name. Yeah, Blog. I think his name.
Blog.
Bolg.
Yeah.
I liked him better. He looked gnarly.
Yeah,
That-
true.
That guy looks like a villain.
Web Diary. What's his name? Blog.
I mean, so I don't know. I feel like
Oh.
the better way would have been to do this is like still have the Battle of the Five Armies, and then focus at going after like one guy or something like that, right? But like the battle should have been a little bit more in the background, and you can get flashes of those cool action scenes. That way, following the pacing and everything like that isn't really important. It's just you're looking at some cool scenes happening. And the important thing that's going on is the tension and everything built between the focus character, which is probably going to be Bilbo in this instance, and whatever quest he. I think the flashing back between all these characters, I think, just did not work.
I kind of have to agree with that. It was just
Sorry.
there's too much
wife
switching back and
happy.
forth.
Yeah, I think Emily just likes a good just take everything and throw it in a bowl and just mix it up.
I just
Like
like
if it's a good flavor, it's
I
a
don't
good flavor. So
Do you
you
never
put the
watch,
good flavor
like,
with the good flavor. It's
That's
just
what I do with
more
my
good
soda.
flavor.
Fountain
ever
soda
watch-
all day.
Do you
Yep.
hate like Jean-Claude Van Damme movies and like Chuck Norris and stuff, where it's just
Yeah,
like
No,
mindless,
actually.
dumb action?
Actually, I
Oh.
do.
Man,
No,
love
I
those
don't.
Movies. The action serves no purpose. It's just fun and cool and entertaining. It's just like throws a guy through a glass pane and kicks a guy.
I
over
would
a
I would
car.
disagree
Yeah.
with that statement. I don't think that's the case. I don't think it's all mindless and dumb. I think that there's intention between a lot of this stuff. It's not.
There's a
I'm not
story-
saying that it's like, oh, it's an action scene, it's pointless. It's like, no, it's like the way it was written
Oh,
was
in
just
those movies, they're kind of
dragged on.
pointless, but it's just fun, like entertaining. It's just like guys beating each other up. It's cool.
not all
Wonk.
the movies.
Wonk.
Yeah,
Oh, that's so cool.
it is.
Wonk.
Yeah, get him. Eating popcorn.
Anyways, whatever.
Drop
I
pieces
think
for the
we're
dog.
at that moment. All right.
I will say, good ending though. I like the ending whenever he returns to the Shire, and they end on that like silly
Yeah,
note where the
that's-
Shire
Yeah.
they're auctioning
I
off all
like
his
that
stuff,
too.
and then it does the wrap around where he's aged then, and it starts with the knock, or it ends with the knock. That
It does
starts
the
other
reach
things.
around.
In proper gooning fashion, yes.
Literary,
now we reach it down.
Okay, I
literary
think
reach around.
let's
So I'm
do
gonna
this.
float it. You all are gonna sink it. So go ahead.
Yes. It does the Neil Gaiman.
Herman,
Oh no!
It does the gaming. It does the gaming.
floater sink, Herman.
Oh, it sank. It sank so freaking hard.
Name 5
Heavily,
better
the
fantasy
floater's
movies
a
not in
sink.
the Lord of the Rings world. It floats because there aren't many good
Floats.
fantasy movies. And
And
for
this
that
isn't
matter,
one of them.
There's not many
Beastmaster,
fantasy.
Dragon Slayer.
There's not many fantasy movies anymore.
Are you
These
voting
ones
with
don't
Joe?
end up-
What do you mean
Past-
anymore? The Dungeons and Dragons movie that came out was good.
One.
Like-
That's one.
Okay,
keep
but there was
going.
like 2 good movies that came
Dragon
out recently.
Slayer, Conan.
Dragon Slayer's old. That's 19. These are old movies. The 80s. 80s were great. 80s crushed it
Whoa,
in like every genre.
Wait.
I'm
We
talking about
can't compare
modern
it with
era.
today's age. Stop. We can't compare it with today's age. There's no good movies coming out in the first place.
The last 20 years, not counting Lord of the Rings, how many good fantasy movies have we gotten, or even attempts at it? There's not a lot.
I'm sure there's more. There's more than you would think. What you talking about? Like
This is
medieval
better
fantasy?
Wow.
Just fantasy. This is better than most movies that are fantasy that tried to do fantasy or whatever, and that's why it's afloat.
Well, I will
I'll
say
disagree.
that I will say this. They kept me through the second movie, but the third movie lost me completely.
I was lost at the second movie.
Yeah, but
I mean, I could.
you're a gooner, so
They gained me in the second movie. The Smeagol
What
scene,
about
I was
this
like,
one?
okay. And then
You
the
know what was a good-
smog scene, I was like, oh, there you go. There you go.
Another
That's-
fantasy.
This floater sink, AC.
This is dog shit, bro.
It's so sick. Okay, well, I guess I don't know. Am I gonna tie it? I don't know.
No, you're not. Get out of here.
I don't know, man. Like, who knows? I like to think that Kahuna would also sink this.
Of course he would.
Well, a good 75% of this movie is just like mindless action. That means that has
You say it
zero
like it's
weight
a problem, like it's a bad thing that there's just action. That's like this roller coaster, it's just like fun. And you just have twists. and,
Because
like, what's the
because
point
why
of that
would you
second
just
looping
have
loop?
action when you could instead have action that has weight to it?
Because I mean, well, it's or you can
Like,
just have no.
that's like
action,
saying-
at least it's there.
Well, there's bad action, so that's like we could feel that instead of have bad action, we can have good action.
I don't know, man.
Bro,
I'll take
my
action
people-
over people talking or emotions or whatever they're going to be doing.
I
want
think the
fighting.
I think the roller coaster analogy is a great one because it's like the end of the movie was kind of like how you go up a hill and then you go over the top and you're going down the hill in a roller coaster. Well,
Yeah.
you're going down the hill for like 45 minutes,
Yeah.
and after about 50, like, dude, I gotta go to the bathroom.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like the setup with everything with the doors was cool.
Dude,
but
I
it's
want
like,
a hot dog.
man.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I like them doing the
crazy.
shield wall. I mean, it was like completely ruined as soon as the elves decided to jump over the shield wall.
Yeah.
Like I don't know why you would do that. Just
Now what do you
shoot
do?
arrows. You're elves. What's the point of the shield wall if you're gonna jump over it? What are you protecting with
Because
the
it
wall?
looks cool. It
Weren't
looks
expecting
cool.
the jump. Yeah.
They look cool.
Stupid.
I mean,
Yeah,
there's
I
certain
don't
things
know.
there's certain things that I can under, but this once again, this is a symptom of the fact that they took something that could have made 2 fantastic movies, and they had to pump out, had to filler it out to make 3, and you can see the filler, you can see the spackle all over this movie.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Like I want to see shields bashing against shields. I don't want to see just like little fairies jumping in the air and like wee. And that's pretty much what we got.
I don't care about that. I do care about the fact that the action started and just never freaking stopped. And at some point I got bored. And all these different drama things, after a while, you just get disinvested.
And
I
I
agree.
I got wind of the new Aragon show and put a poll out, and I think this ties into it a little bit because that sucker got 0% voted for adding new material is what they wanted to see in the new Aragon show. So I think this movie is actually kind of evidence of that. Like what are all the criticisms? A lot of it is just added contrived bullshit like that nobody wanted to see. The spackle, like you said, but like from a writing perspective as well.
Sure.
Nobody
Well,
wants
yeah,
to
they
see
like the story for a reason. Why would you? Why
Yeah.
would you change?
You talking
like,
about
add
the
things that could
Dragon
potentially?
Aragon?
Yeah.
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 Oh,
I
they'll screw it.
It's
They'll
you
screw
They
it.
will.
Yeah.
But if the
Well,
choice is
well,
you have it with this extra bloat and you get 3 movies and at least it exists in some format versus just it doesn't. Go watch the old cartoon.
You know,
I would much rather have these.
I
Here's
hate
the
this
thing.
argument.
here's the thing.
That's fine.
I went out and I bought the extended editions because I loved the Lord of the Rings so much
Oh,
because
yeah.
they were really good. All 3 of those movies were absolutely solid.
Yeah, best
Okay.
movies ever made. Right.
And it started with Fellowship and it just got better and better. The problem is that they had me at 2 movies. If they just would have taken some stuff out in that stupid freaking romance, they would have had 2 movies. They could have sold extended editions with all that other stuff. And a guy like me would have went out and bought it because it was 2 solid movies. But then I got 2 decent movies and an absolute turd for a third. I'm not going to go out and buy any sort of extended edition crap, any additional scenes that need to be in there. So
I got all 3 extended.
Well, it's just like you're like, well, there like I just haven't seen anything else, so it's like let's settle for mediocrity. It's like, well, it's what we got. Like there's always shit in the corner. It's like, well, we don't have anything else, so might as well go
This
for the
isn't
shit in the
that,
corner.
though. It's not. That's Rings of Power. That's the argument.
No,
We're not
no,
talking
no.
about Rings
No,
of
no,
Power.
no, no.
Yeah.
That's a
This movie's
TV
not
show.
shit in a corner. This movie is definitely better than that for sure.
Yeah, it is.
I think it's a little bit less.
No, it
bit.
is.
Wow.
It's better.
Yeah.
Because we
Compared
had
to Rings
there
of
was
Power?
some
Come
there
on,
was
man.
something there are some things redeemable in this movie.
Yeah, I
There's
agree with that.
absolutely nothing
But
redeemable
it's
in Rings of
it's
Power.
like the
understand where
same
you're
thing.
coming
So
from.
I assume you didn't watch the second season of Rings of Power, but it's like
I don't
the
watch any of
final.
it.
Yeah, the fight that's happening. It's like it's again things are happening. There's a troll. Oh, there's a cool troll, but like it doesn't mean anything. The battle, the armies are going against each other. They're catapulting, doing stuff, and it's just like it's so weightless
Well-
and bad. It's bad for very similar reasons as to why these movies are bad.
Legolas could do all that. So if it was him, I'd be like, yo, let's go.
Oh,
But
and
Galadriel, I'm like, what are we doing here?
And another problem was the
Can't do that.
member berries, because these guys
Yeah.
these guys are trying to throw in everything that they couldn't throw into the Lord of the Rings, and that was the nameless things under the earth. Those girls, which I don't know why the hell.
Wait, you're talking about Rings of Power? Or you're talking about...
those worms that bored through.
Oh yeah.
The worms that bored through the earth. They used that. They brought up Azog, who was never in the Hobbit. They just threw out member berry after member berry. It felt like with all of this stuff, and it just was like I could see it. That's all they're doing is they're throwing all this cool things that they wanted people to have in there, and it just stick to telling a good story. Stick to telling a good story.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to be like, well, there's nothing else good, so I'm going to accept this. You know, that's kind of where I'm at. But all right, Herman, you got some stuff out. I think you got a new book out.
Yes, I do have. Why? Yes, I do. It is The Revenant and the Cult, Book 2.
Nice.
The Terror in the Witchwood. Nice. So it's out. It's on pre-order, and I also had a artist do a custom bookmark that I usually distribute when I do cons and stuff like that.
Oh, cool.
This is done by Gabrielle Geske. She is on. Well, she used to be a regular on Drawn and Quartered Fan Edition, but work has picked up, so she's not on there. But she did a fantastic. I love this. This is Hal Cedric, or her rendition of Hal Cedric. Try not to get the glare in there.
Light, yeah.
So, but every book has its own bookmark. So, but anyways, the Revenant and the Cult, Book 2. So this is the thrilling conclusion to the 2-book series. And
That's the
of
first
course,
one here.
all of my books come out. In audiobook, paperback, and ebook, but the audiobook is not available at Audible and won't be available until March 3rd, which is the release date.
Okay, so it's three books. It's Revenant in the Tomb is the first one.
Yeah.
Revenant in the Cult, book 1.
Well, technically, Revenant in the Tomb is not part of the. It's Revenant in the Tomb stands
same
as
world.
standalone. Yeah, it's the same
Okay.
world. But this also has ties. Both the Revenant and the Cult and Revenant Cult Part Book 2 all have all do make references back to the Revenant and the Tomb.
Okay.
So
you got some deep ones going on.
So
They're not.
That's the way. I was admiring the when we were putting out the newsletter, I was doing a last little bout of editing on it, and I was like admiring the book cover. I'm like, this is a cool book cover. I like it.
Thank you.
I like it.
I really enjoyed the first book in the series. I liked Wizard's Stone a lot too, and I assume that Cole is also probably in the fire. I know you got this one coming out, but
yeah, actually, I'm working on the follow-up to that.
Nice.
Odo grows up and knows magic, and now he is traveling to a land in the north. So
man,
it's
you're
kind
gonna
of
hopefully Sauron's not there.
You're gonna be strong guy Odo and Snow in the same time.
Yeah.
Yes.
And well, it's not gonna be. It's gonna be more spring. You can't really have snow up there, and doing some of this. But
we'll take it.
It's honestly, it's actually 2 books kind of put into one, but I'm not going to bust up the books again like I did this time.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I really liked, my personal opinion, I really liked Odo and the Wizard's Stone. That was I really enjoyed writing that book, and it's he's one of my favorite characters. I like Hal Cedric, but Hal Cedric is kind of like a vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
So, but each book kind of like reveals layers of my world, and the Odo one will reveal kind of the origin of dark magic in my world. So
nice. And
Nice,
this one, am I seeing?
You got the trailer. You got a trailer for it, don't you?
Yes, I do. Let me see.
Yeah,
I love the length of this book. By the way, this is one of the biggest reasons I will definitely pick this up. It's that 235 pages. I'm like, all right, I can knock that out in not too long of a time period, and that is, I like that. Makes me feel like I'm being productive if I can knock out a couple books.
Yeah, you can read a couple pages and actually feel like you made progress.
Yeah. Is that right?
What's that?
Try that link.
Oh, you sent. Oh, let me see.
Has come for Hobbit. I am the hand of vengeance from the divine, come with judgment and fire. You make a fine jest for a dead man.
My favorite thing about that trailer is all the screams at the end. That's Herman recorded each one of those voices himself, so that's pretty impressive.
Smashed it together.
just screaming all day for hours, editing it together.
Actually, yes, I did record all of them.
Do you have a big battle that happens? Are there multiple armies that fight against each other?
I have 6 armies. And
I do not want to spoil it, but there is a battle.
Nice.
I just imagine like the book form of the Hobbit.
let me
Battle
put it
Five
to you
Armies.
this
You're
way.
just like,
Let me put it to you this way: everything in that all that you saw in that trailer exists in the book, including the sound effects.
all right.
You open the
Yeah.
book to the right page and it just starts screaming at you like a
Yeah.
birthday card.
So I
Awesome.
imagine like the book form of the movie Battle of Five Armies, where they're just writing down like, so a troll appears, and another troll appears,
Go on. You have my
and
attention.
another
Really?
Legolas
There's
kills a
three?
guy.
Oh man,
actually
No way.
killed 12 guys. 12
Nice.
guys.
That's a lot.
20
That's
more
impressive.
show up,
Ooh.
all dead.
How's it? No way, that fast.
Troll pops
Dude.
up.
Impressive. Then what? You got to throw some.
It's
head
written just
pops
like
in
that.
there.
Yeah.
Yo,
So
sold.
the book I'm working on now, I'm actually working on the battle scene, because there's a battle scene kind of midway through the book. So, and it, like I said, I don't like giving spoilers, but yeah, I am working on something.
Yeah,
like
without
that.
spoiling. Yeah, I mean that's a difficult thing to do, because I mentioned previously, it's like you got to figure out how to ground the reader and try to understand what's going on with zero visuals, right? So it's like, how do I paint that picture and not get the reader lost and just like, yeah, things are happening. Because that can happen. So just
the other
things are
thing,
happening.
the other thing, and this is interesting part about writing, is that I was having a real hard time trying to visualize, because I didn't have an understanding of the actual terrain in which this battle would occur. And I actually had a breakthrough on that. So, I've been like kind of reworking stuff, but
They're in mud.
This is where in this battle, you begin to understand just how powerful wizards are, and how one of them can really, give you, put a dent in your car and give you a really bad day. So
Gandalf strong or Goondalf strong? There is
probably
a difference.
Probably Goondalf strong.
Nice.
Is Goondalf a good thing or bad?
Well, he's a lot stronger.
It's a thing. Yeah, super strong.
Depends who you ask.
Yeah.
And
My-
my books tend to be more serious, but this one that I'm writing right now is going to be it's going to have a lot of subtle comedy in it. So hopefully they don't screw that up.
Nice. Yeah, because Wizard Stone I thought was the more serious out of your books, but the other ones, I mean, they have moments. It's not like they're not silly.
The guy I play Dungeons and Dragons online. I have a guy that I run with every weekday, and we play Dungeons and Dragons online for about an hour and a half, and he's a fan of my books, and I never hear the end of what I did to everybody in the Wizard Stone.
I was gonna say Wizard Stone gets pretty heavy at times.
Yeah, Wizard Stone is very, very heavy book.
Yeah.
So
it was good. I liked it, but there was parts of like, really? Damn it.
And everybody who's read it's like, I would have really liked this. Why did you have to do this?
Yep.
Why did that person have to die? Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I obviously did something right. I obviously did something right. Everybody bitches about something different.
They got your motto wrong on Amazon, though. It says creating a world of fantasy, one story at a time. That's not your motto. We all know your motto.
Buy my book.
It's good to see, though, on the last book, you got 48 reviews, which is good to see. And they go up every book. So that's cool. That's an upward trajectory.
And
I'm getting there. I'll be there someday.
My Spotify numbers are actually, I'm at like 6,800 minutes listened to. Nice. I have consistent, like my books, I have consistent activity on Spotify with my books. So I'm beginning to see a trend, and now that I've said it, I probably jinxed it. Yeah. So,
and if you have Spotify Premium, you get access to those. I think you mentioned earlier.
Yes,
right?
I was mentioning. If you have Spotify Premium, you have access to all of my books. And my dog just walked in. You have access to all of my books, and and it's part of the subscription. So, unlike Audible, where you have to burn a subscription to get one book, and that's where I get hit up. That's where I get beat up, is because, I now have to compete with books where one subscription or what was it?
One
One
credit.
Audible
One
credit.
one credit gets you 48 hours of audio, whereas mine are like 6. With Spotify being under the premium, one audiobook is just like the other, and so you can read it just like you would if you're going to a library.
Nice.
Yeah,
I really like Steve Fortune too. He's got a good voice.
Yeah.
I can't do an impression of it, but it's like very blah blah. It's very, I don't know. It fits the world really well.
He the story is that when I was auditioning the voice talent for this, he was the one that came through with the first audition, and I listened to it and I'm like, this is the guy. This is my guy. And because it gave me chills, because he nails my writing style. He's very expressive. He covers it all. And how this guy has not been picked up by a bunch of major fantasy authors, I have no idea, because he nails it. He just nails it. So
yeah. Well, yeah. So guys, I put the link. Let me see. Make sure I put him back in again. Yeah, so you can get his book. If you click that link, you can get his other books from there as well on his author page. Just pick it up. Check it out.
If you live in Michigan, it will be doing events all through this year, or all through the summer. My first event is going to be in Midland, Michigan. I'll be selling my paperbacks, and I will have all of them there.
Nice.
So at special event pricing.
Nice.
All right. So we are at that time where you probably end it, but do you guys want to cover that self-publishing science fiction competition?
Oh yes.
Drama. Yeah. Okay. I thought you might.
What drama? What's going on? Fill me in.
What
Get me up to speed.
drama?
What drama? What's happening? What?
Okay. I'm gonna share it.
And I found out why this is all coming up.
Oh, I got that too. It's
Spill
like,
the tea.
oh, okay. So we got this. You probably can't see that. But, oh, what the fuck? We're just bouncing back. Okay. All right. So I'll. It's too much to really read. Essentially, what's going on here is they're like, all right, we have this new code of conduct for our judges and our authors. So basically, what this is an account. They run a competition for self-published science fiction books.
What?
And so it's a free thing that they do to try to get some eyes on some indie creators. And which good idea, great concept. But essentially, yeah, they just recently came out with, and it kind of made a little bit of an uproar because people are like, what's going on with this? Why are you even needing to mention that we like have a code of conduct? So it kind of sounds like you're trying to tell us how to act, right? And there's a lot of things in here that kind of contradict each other. Not to mention, it's just like you read one of these first lines and it's just red flags right off the bat, where it says, here at the SPSFC, we believe diversity, equity, and inclusion are positive things. Huge red flag. As are all forms of other forms of racial, cultural, gender, and sexual orientation acceptance. So it's, that's weird. And they kind of mention how they're like, oh, we're not here to police you. You guys are grown adults. And then at the same time, in the same breath, they're saying, we kind of want people to, sing a certain tune. And also being like, hey, we don't care what politics you are, whatever. And it's at the same time, it's like, well, it kind of seems like you have very specific politics in mind. And not to mention, I'm like, are you really having a problem with people like actively being racist to your judges or anything? Like, I seriously doubt that you'd have receipts or something like that happening. So it seems like there's a very specific reason why this is coming up. I don't know if you have something else you wanted to add to that, Herman, of what you observed.
Yeah, they're very, if you notice, they're being very vague as to why this is coming about. From what
Right.
I'm hearing, from what I'm seeing, it's because they have removed Devin Erickson.
Oh yeah. We apologize for extended delay of radio silence, which just came out the same day, right?
Yep.
Or it's 2 days apart. 2 days apart. Or no, just 1 day apart. Sorry. And yeah, Devin Erickson has been removed from the SPFSC effective immediately for violation of our code of conduct. He broke the code of conduct in 1 day. So it's like, we don't like this guy. He's in our competition. Let's write something real quick so we can justify getting him out.
Exactly.
Essentially what happened.
So,
which I looked at his page. I don't see anything. I know his wife commented on it. I know they've been kind of privating this. So this is not privated.
Devin is
yes.
Devin does not hold the right political viewpoint.
He's from I see he's Christian. I've seen him on John A. Douglas's stream before.
Yeah.
Seems like a nice guy. He's got A Theft of Fire, I think is the book that he's written. It's very popular. Looks great. Looks like it's doing great. Which, of course, with people like this, they can't stand that when they don't follow their exact political views. But yeah, I believe this is his wife who comment on this. I'm sure he's blocked, which is why he's probably not commenting on this.
No,
I've read the code of conduct.
He's just not a social media guy. She's the one that does all of his social media. So
makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. Devin has had 0 interactions with fellow authors or any of the judges of the SPSFC, and is explicitly states that personal blogs unrelated to the competition are irrelevant and not grounds for disqualification. What is his violation? Yeah,
exactly.
There's mentions of authors like bullying judges. They were trying to say they're having issues with that, and I've heard in some of the comments people being like, "Well, I got blocked just for asking a question to a judge." So, yeah, it feels like it's like they're wording it to be like, "Oh no, we don't care about your politics," but it's like, no, you're just definitely doing this so you can pick and choose who you're going to gatekeep.
Yep,
and it's like, cool, all right,
that's what I'm taking away from it.
Fuck you.
So. I'm almost upset that I'm not a part of that organization, so I can just quit. So,
right. I never really had an interest in it, to be honest.
I could join and then quit.
Yeah, there you go. Effective immediately, I quit. Yeah, you put out a big dramatic statement in the same way. Yeah.
Well, it's one of these things that I keep finding out about way too late, where I'm like, well, I could have submitted my book Dawn Edge, and maybe that would have attracted it. But another thing is I don't even think, because they're like, oh, we're not going through shuffling through people's social medias and stuff like that. And it's like, is it because, so again, now we have to think oh, is it because there's some nods to our the person's political ideology in their book, and therefore you don't agree with that, therefore bad. For example, I don't know. If you were to write something from 1984, you could probably gather the idea of the guy's politics from reading that book, right? Even though it's just not. Well, it's just anti-communist. I don't know. It's one of those things where communism is that's bad. I don't know.
Well,
it's not really left or right, but
there might be something to going out of your way to get banned by them if they're going to make big dramatic statements like this. Because that's good promotion for your book, man. It's good.
Yeah, I don't know if it would get you promotion. They'd have to throw a hissy fit. That's the only way you're gonna get the publicity off of it, if they throw a hissy fit. I mean, for him, it worked. But he already had a big independent book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love what's his name? Michael Anthony. This is going to kill your brand. I'm here for it. There was something that I wanted to read from this, and I didn't have anything specifically highlighted from this. Something about the judges and something about their preference. I think that they were saying their preference can there's certain political things that will affect the score. or certain themes like sexual or violence. I want to find that. Let's see. Give me
In
a
which
second,
case
guys.
they could disqualify his book, but they can't. Sounds to me like they just threw him out.
Yeah, and the fact that it happened the same day. This is like an organized, planned assassination attempt. But again, it's probably just gonna bring more eyes to it.
Coup,
Like, he
man.
didn't-
It's a
yeah.
coup.
It will bring more eyes to it. That's what I was saying. Like, if you can, so what? We just got to poke them hard enough, and then they pop, and then we sell books. Is that how this works? Is that what they're saying to us right now?
It wouldn't work for me. So
Yeah. Yeah, we're not here to police people's opinions. We will not tolerate hate speech. Please define that. And other backwards attitudes. I'm like, well, it sounds like
yeah, right there.
in such as Discord, Twitter, and other social media. It's like, all right, so you're not here to police us. Sounds like you're here to police us. I don't know.
Yeah, that's
A little bit of double speak there.
The minute you say backwards attitudes, that tells you all you need to know.
Yeah.
You know, we all know, you all know the prevailing mood of a lot of these people who are involved with books, and this is just one of those things you got to deal with. And this is the reason why I don't belong to any of these organizations. They're going to all be the same. They're going to be the same.
Yeah.
So what's the point? And it's like my books. I don't expect my books to ever win an award. I don't care. I just want fans. The only thing I care about is fans like them.
Fans,
they spend money to buy them. That's all I care about. And from what I've heard, these awards, they don't get you anything. They really don't increase sales. There's lots of people who are in these, who are bestseller awards or have won some award whose books sell like maybe half a dozen copies.
Yeah, I've heard of that. I forget what I was listening to, some YouTube show, and they were saying that exact thing. Actually, it might have been what's the dude that draws? We had him on. I think he was talking about it because he was working with publishers, and he was saying something similar. Where some of these awards.
The dude that draws.
What's his name? I can't.
Drawing dude.
He was a guest on the show. I feel bad. I can't remember his name offhand now.
Drawing dude.
He talked about publishing with us. He does the comic, The Girl with the Mega Fists.
Oh, Drawn Talk. Tyler.
Drawn Talk. Thank you. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Drawn Talk. Yeah, he was talking about that same kind of thing that you were, where they win these awards and they don't move any units. So he said it's like he was talking about it's prestigious to go that route, but you're going to make more money not going that route. In terms of the hoops you'd have to jump through to get the award.
Prime example is a guy named Gary Shipman, who he does a book called Titan. And Gary Shipman is a fantastic artist. That Eisner Award really hasn't gotten him any traction whatsoever. But he is a fantastic artist. As a matter of fact, if I ever do an illustrated book, he's doing the illustrations.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like a lot of these things, like, we're like, you should appreciate us because we're here to help you. And it's like, in reality, like,
no, we're
not helping them. Yeah,
they're helping.
Though the great comment from somebody right here, he goes, "You weren't getting US aid funding, were you?"
It is bizarre that winning these awards doesn't do anything for some people. Like, I find that kind of strange. Do they have so little influence and sway that, I mean, literally, like you said, half a dozen units. You think that it'd be like, okay, maybe they sell a couple dozen from it, like at least something. But
it probably has to do with the time now, right? Because like people latch on to personalities, right? Like the big, like YouTube's the best example, right? They latch on to YouTubing personality. With the judges and everything in this organization, there's not a personality behind it. It's just this vague organization. So the readers are probably like, well, I don't care. It's just this thing and whatever. Like, I don't know who's saying this is good. This isn't that person on YouTube whose face I see that makes the funny jokes. He's not saying that it's good.
We should just make a whole bunch of series of like awards and just give them to all our friends, and that way we can put like the stickers all over their books or on their advertising. Be like, I've won this.
Oh, I was already thinking about that. I was like,
I don't know what that is, but I'm impressed.
I think we should run the Iron Seas Awards. Let's do it.
We definitely should. Yeah, do.
I've won the Grand Gooner Award for best book. Best
that is our
fantasy
most
book
prestigious-
incorporating
most
Gooners.
Rob
like-
John of the Orca Award.
Let's just all just start giving each other awards and stuff for whatever we want. Like,
Brilliant.
yeah, we can do it too. You know, like, what's
And
the
just
big
make it look
deal?
really official. So when
They
people
won
read it,
the
like,
Orc
"Holy
Tusk
crap."
Award for Best Fantasy Novel.
Tale of the Dunce Whisperer. Wow, who wrote that? What? He's won 12 awards.
Wow, it's
Well, you know-
award winning now.
We could see something in the future of the Iron Seas in our book club where we look particularly at guest books maybe one year, and at the end of the year vote for the best one out of like a bunch of guest content or something like that. So we very well could see that. I mean, just saying.
Yeah, a lot of these words are just like a guy's name. You can just make something up. You're like
Best of the Seas.
it's
Exactly.
the Robert Putnam Award. It's very prestigious. You just
Robert
have, like,
California.
The Amanda Huggins
All
Kiss.
come in iron. Only one leaves a steel.
Yes, only one leaves steel. Yes, yeah.
The Amanda Huggins Kiss Award.
I like Steel
Best
because you can be
literary
like,
novel.
it's like if a book is a really good deal, you say the book gets the Steel Award because the book is a steal, but it's like TEEL.
And then you drop the pirate link.
Bob, you can get the Best Try Award. Best attempt.
Yeah, dude.
Try.
Yes. Yes.
The Golf Clap Award.
Yeah.
Yep.
The Golf Clap Award.
Yeah, the 5 out of 10. You get the Golf
I
Clap
think we should
Award.
do that. I think we should do it. I think we should do it.
That would be
I
great.
think the award for I didn't like it, but
Dude, this is actually really
I think it might have worked.
What you do is you sell them a trophy made up of a bunch of busted trophies that are all duct taped together.
that'd be awesome. I love that idea. You
The
could do
problem
an
is,
award
it's like
too,
again with these
bizarre
other
stuff.
organizations, we'd have to try to get other because it's the problem with books. It's like it takes too much time to get through them.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do you? Yeah, unless we did some sort of short story submission thing, but I don't know.
I love the idea of having some big fancy name for an award. And then if you look up what it means, it's like this book had a scene that referenced dung or something, and that's what the award's for. But you read the name and it just sounds fancy.
Do you like the
That's-
chapter 1 awards? Like everybody just submits their chapter 1, which is
Ooh,
judged
I like
based
that.
off that.
Ooh.
I like that.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Best
Chapter-
use of
the first
excrement
sentence
in a
award?
novella.
The
Chapter
first
one
sentence award
awards.
would be good too. I like that.
That's part of writing culture, dog. Like that, you're submitting basically that much to an agent, and they request the rest of the book or whatever. There's tons of people already with that mindset, so that's a good idea. a good
Best
idea.
about the author. I mean, Bats would win that one for the Dunce Whisperer.
These are all good ideas. These are all good ideas. Yeah, and I agree. Bats would win that one, especially.
We can talk about it more. I still think we need to figure out our whole idea. We keep talking about, we
Ideas.
want to have a crucible. We're going to have the writer's crucible. We don't know exactly what that looks like, but we want to challenge Herman right here to a story writing gambit where you have to write your way out of a situation right off of the bat. I just don't know how to do that and make have it be entertaining and all that other stuff. But we're gonna figure it out at some point.
It'll be fun.
Yeah, and that could be another award that you win, the Crucible Award.
Yeah.
But okay, Hermit, you got anything else you want to mention for tonight? You just want to tell people your typical slogan.
Buy my book. Buy my
Buy his book.
Buy your what? I'm sorry, I didn't catch that
Please
last
buy
week.
my books.
What are we
all of
buying?
my books.
You guys, you're buying
The
something,
Revenant
I
in the
don't-
Tomb. Come on.
You need to be clear
Revenant in the
because
Tomb.
we're trying to buy
Tomb.
something. What are we buying?
This guy.
I just wanted to say buy my
This
book as
guy-
many times as possible. I was trying to get him to 10.
This guy.
This guy.
And there's one back there. The Revenant in the Tomb, the Revenant Cult Book 1, Revenant Cult Book 2, and the Wizard Stone. And like I said, if you have a Spotify, premium account, you can get all my audiobooks.
Nice. Yeah.
That's awesome.
All
That's
right.
really
Well,
good.
Emily, you got anything you want to mention before we hop out of here?
I don't think there's anything new going on with me, but if you want to listen to my music, if you like metal, if you like chiptune stuff, you can type in Evely into all streaming
Come here, bud.
services, whether it's Apple Music or YouTube Music or iTunes. Is that the kids use these days? The iTunes or Spotify. as well. You don't even have to be a premium member to listen to you. Well, actually, I think you do. But anyways, all those places. You can also find me on Bandcamp as well. Newest album is called Lift, 19 tracks, songs I've made for other people. And I guess I should mention, too, that IAK is coming back in a couple of weeks. I think the 21st is going to be the first airing of the show since Royce stepped down. So looking forward to that. We'll see how that goes. And other than that, that's all I got.
AC, you got anything you want to mention before we hop off for the day?
Yeah, recently my band Empty My Lungs has really taken off behind the scenes here. We shot up from under 100 monthly listeners to well over 1,200 and climbing every day. When we get the analytics, it's drastically different and much higher. We're on like over 150 playlists now. It keeps growing every day. And all that is kind of like flooding through. So if you want to go check out my band Empty My Lungs, just type that in on all platforms, like kind of just like Evely said with his, and hop in on the wave and see what it's all about. Other than that, back my comic, help get us to 50 backers. We're over halfway there. fundmycomic.com/ASOS. Aside from that, just knocking out chapters and same old. What about you?
Yeah, well, guys, as always, I'm just going to plug our Substack. We put a lot of work into that. We make sure that it's quality. We're advertising people as well as we hear news. We're trying to get it out to people. But yeah, we're making gold with our flash fictions every week. AC kills it with the comic every week as well. You can subscribe to my channel. I'm still gaining subs. I haven't posted a video over a
Guys,
month.
I have a dog that is giving me the grumblies. I have to step away for a bit.
You have a good one.
Yeah.
You're probably gonna want to run away for this anyways, because guys, that's been another Tuesday Iron Seas episode. Another one for the books, guys. Thank you for joining us, and as always, I could so hard just to get so far, but in the end,